And that's the billionaire strategy.
Okay, so I'm listening to Cody Sanchez.
They're not actually selling their
She's talking about how smart business people
and if the asset grows faster than the cost of debt, aka the interest rate here, then the math
can use debt
so
to get rich.
You're going to say,
or richer.
How do you pay the interest payments?
And it's really boring. It's a boring topic. I probably have to start it over.
This 6%, just like you would any other bill, like your mortgage or car payment. But the amazing
and I'm going to do a get ready with me at the same time.
Tax deductible. So you can actually ask your CPA, hey, if I start paying back this 6% interest, can I deduct it from my taxes? You certainly can't do that with deducting out cash you take. Or two, you just never pay it back. We call this the borrow, buy, die strategy. You buy an asset, just like we did before. So maybe this is your first rental property or your first small business. Then you borrow against it from the bank. Then you keep borrowing and include from the bank what we'll call accumulating asset payments until you die. And you borrow continuously, and then when you eventually pass on your inheritance and your big huge stack of cash, the loan gets repaid, but not by you. As long as you keep paying two things, as long as you keep paying your interest rate, and if the market ever goes down, whatever amount you need to bridge the gap, then your loan to value ratio will stay healthy and you can carry this thing forever. Now, how do people mess this up? There are two traps that get people here. If you never pay down the principal and the asset you borrow drops down below what's called loan to value ratio, which is what we call here LTV, different type of LTV.
Loan to value ratio. Such a boring topic.
The bank issues something called a
so you basically you have to be rich enough to buy an asset. I have a car, but like that's it, and that's a depreciating asset. So thank you, Starsky.
You could put up a house, you could put up a car. Now the second trap is people borrow way too much. Like look at this for a second. Robinhood lets you do one-to-one leverage. That's like if you have 10K, they'll give you 10K in margin loans. Please, dear sweet baby Jesus, don't do this. This is how you give yourself an ulcer and lose your house. The gap between your loan and margin is called sleep.
Loan and margin.
Buy as much as you can feel comfortable with, and Elon is no exception. Tesla's board got so nervous about how exposed this made their CEO that they capped how much Musk could personally borrow against his own shares at $3.5 billion. The danger zone at the time was around $114 a share, roughly half of where Tesla was trading. If the stock had fallen that far, the bank could have forced a sale of the exact asset he was trying to protect. Let's talk about how to use this like the 1%. Because rich people have figured out how to make millions and pay no taxes with this. And if you can't beat them, join up, right? So here's how to use it like the 1%. I should know this because I
okay.
First of all, please do not borrow too much.
I may or may not come to Japan, but I promise you won't see me if I do. I'll be like a ninja.
Loan to value.
Do me a favor and don't come to Japan.
I'm good with that.
Thank you for commenting because it brings me up in the algorithm.
So I need volatile asset. If you need to take out a line of credit to use outside of the stock market, the big guys like Morgan Stanley.
Thank you for hitting the like button.
Or more in stocks and a minimum line of credit of 100K. If you've got 100K in stocks, I don't think you need Wall Street's Velvet Rope. Schwab has a pledged asset line that has a 100K minimum. The catch is your money doesn't stay where it is. Once you're approved, your securities get moved into a separate account. That's Schwab, it's called a pledged account. And that account loses its margin and option trading privileges. It's collateral now, so you can't
Hold on, I'm missing
and again, collateral
some makeup.
Means something that they can come back to.
Collateral just means something they can come back to. God, such a boring topic. It's about how rich people use debt to get richer. I work so hard to not be in debt. Now I'm being told own assets that will appreciate, produce cash, borrow to buy more. So there is a barrier to entry there because you have to be rich enough to buy an asset. I guess stocks are good, but there's no way I'm buying a house.
Here's why it's so powerful. Let's say you have $200,000 and you put it in the stock market.
Oh, only 200,000.
Rate of return. You will make about let's call it 170K at the end of 8 years.
Okay.
If you take that same 200K and you put 10% down on a $2 million business and you finance the rest with an SBA loan, assuming an industry standard
Fit
growth
check.
rate of 5%, less than the stock market, you will profit how much, you guys? 5.1 million. Looks like a 51, but it's 5.1.
I have to find my concealer.
At the end of that 8 years. That is over, does anybody know? 30x the return on the S&P 500. And you can check out this dashboard of my team if you want to see it in detail. You can enter any number of buying a business with an SBA loan and compare it to putting in the S&P 500. This is for free. You can take it, links in the description. Now, I want to talk SBA loans. SBA loans can be used for business to expand your business.
I have to find my... The problem with having ADHD is that you don't remember to pause whatever you're watching. My daughter's really good at that. She's 4. She remembers to pause shows before she goes pee. It's actually really impressive because she did not learn that from me. In fact, I have a habit where I'll start a show and then immediately walk away because I just remember that I need to do something quickly. And yeah, it's quite the frustrating situation, to be honest. Google said the unbuttoned pant trend involves intentionally leaving the top buttons or fly the jeans or trousers. Yeah. And the Gen Zers think that they came up with it. I did that back in the day before they were born. I invented the trend. Where the heck is the rest of my makeup? Might be in my purse. Hold on. I might have grabbed it. Yeah, I did. I remember doing that now. Because I thought I was going to go on a motorcycle yesterday. First time ever. Well, no, second time in my life. But, okay. It didn't happen because they didn't have like an extra, whatchamacallit, helmet. What the heck? Yeah, I thought I was going to do an interview yesterday with, his name's Ivan. He's on YouTube. You guys should look him up. He's really cool. He's like this famous Mexican motorcyclist. And he's great. He's really cool. He's the youngest person to have ever traveled 500,000 kilometers. Yeah, almost 500,000 kilometers. Which is really impressive. Okay, I found my concealer at least. I don't know where my brush went though. My makeup brush. I'm trying out for WNBA, girl. Wish me luck. Yay. Good luck. I'm sure you don't even need it. Have you ever been told how cute your nostrils are? Thanks. There we go. Okay. Found my concealer, which I definitely need today.
Anna Pavlov started in the military.
Fit check. I'm getting messages from the motorcyclist agent because we were talking about doing the motorcycle ride today. That's funny. I was just talking about him. So I'm gonna go deal with that. But hold on. Sorry, long prospect. Transfer them and then battery recharge. Okay, I'll try to stay on here. Concealer. From his morning ride, he just said He has your helmet and bike. Oh, you guys, I might get to go on a bike ride. He suggested around 3 p.m. downtown. Okay. You're back. Yeah. Okay, so right now I'm using concealer, MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. Okay, I'm going to write back to his agent. So yeah, you guys should look him up. His name's Ivan something. He goes by Ruta. He's a famous motorcyclist on YouTube. You guys should look him up because I'm going to be interviewing him this afternoon. Just making sure I remember to blend everything. And yeah, he's had a really big mission where he's went from Mexico to Alaska, Mexico to Argentina. He wanted to unite all the countries together, and now we're doing like Mexico Canada connection promo. So yeah, I'm really excited. I've been on a motorcycle one time 10 years ago and I liked it. Now I'm a mom, so I'm kind of a bit more nervous because of that. Yeah. Oh, I could be a Playboy magazine centerfold model. Wow, thank you. I think I'm a bit old for that now, but that's okay. I feel like I'm aging like a fine wine and I'm getting better and better. Okie dokie. 1 second. I'm just going to write back to. Wow, you're quite young looking. Thank you. Tell that to the rest of YouTube. I get guesses anywhere from like 25 to 45 on here. Okay, back to Cody Sanchez. If you guys are just tuning in, I am watching Cody Sanchez. She's talking about, she's like, gives business advice. If you don't understand debt, you don't understand business. So she's talking about how rich people have like the privilege of having enough money to buy an asset, borrow from the asset, and yeah, something like that.
Place her first income in the first year, and she was able to do that without laying down the $1
It's really boring.
million.
I don't know if I mentioned that or not.
SBA loans have something called a PG, a personal guarantee.
Also, this is American and I'm in Canada, so I don't know if any of this like works here.
Before the loan is repaid, the SBA will come after everything that you own: your house, your car, any sort of assets or investments that you have, and they will do it aggressively because they want to get repaid. The way that this happens is when people buy a business they don't know how to run, they don't do their due diligence, or the sellers lie to them. Here's a great example of a business listed on BizScout that I would buy as is, and I would renegotiate before I did this. So what type of business is this? It is a luxury boat rental business. The asking price for the business is $150,000.
Where's my makeup?
Now the revenue, here's the problem.
I just did what I said I have problems doing, which is get up as soon as I start press play. But I can't find all of my makeup. Okay, I know I have an eyeshadow palette in my gym bag somewhere. Amongst the things. Why do I have a lemon in my gym bag? Talk about having ADHD, right? This is the life, you guys. This is the life. Okay, I put my eyeshadow palette somewhere.
Actually ask the owner to give you the cash from the business and take those profits and use them to buy the business with seller financing. You're basically flipping the transaction right here at the owner. Now this is kind of cool because sometimes that
you speak French now. Hi, if Africa.
The seller wants. And if you might be thinking, Cody, this isn't real. Why would anyone want to sell their business for less than full price at close? Remember this number: 60% of all businesses close with some version of seller financing. And I know this may shock you, but there are other things. A McKinsey study actually found this by 2035. 1 million small businesses will be on the market as baby boomers retire. We know there's 60,000 listings right now on Viscount. And you can actually go on there and see a bunch of these transactions. And then if you want to learn how to buy them, you can go to Contrarian Community and watch. It teaches you how to do it live. Now, what's interesting is these people want to retire, but they don't want their legacy to end up with a big red sign that says closed on. You can actually go on there and see a bunch of these transactions. And then if you want to learn how to buy them, you can go to.
I think I should buy a business from a boomer.
And that's where you come in. Let me show you what that actually looks like on a real deal lot. Let's say that we have a lawn care business. That's grass. In this lawn care business, it's located in Texas. The asking price for that business is $349,000. It's doing about $325K a year in revenue, and in cash flow, so money in your pocket, about $144K. Now, how much is the difference between
Shit,
the
I forgot to put on my eyeshadow primer
and the cash
first.
flow you're getting? Well, that's about a 44% profit margin, which basically means when a customer gives you $1, you get to keep about 44 cents of every dollar. That is a really good
eyeshadow primer. This will keep my eyeshadow on all night long.
Put 10% down. The asking price for the business is $349K. So you're going to put about $35K down. You can raise that from other people. You can put it down yourself. Then you're going to finance that with a 10-year SBA loan. And you're going to have debt service. That means that interest rate you've got to pay on your debt. That means in year one, you're going to have to pay the bank about $51K. What does that leave you with? About $93,000 in cash flow. That's in your pocket after the bank gets paid. That's on this $35K down payment.
How can anyone be interested in this topic? I mean, it's valuable, but I'm so bored.
Which means how much money do you make on your money down? If you're making $93K a year, the cash on cash return is 265%. This is already an incredible deal. And the seller finance version of it actually gets even sexier. Let me show you that. So if I wanted to do that deal even better, instead of going to the bank for the loan, what could you do? Well, you've got this business, right? You want to buy it. So let's negotiate with the seller. We're going to say we want 40% of the profits until you pay back $375K, not even the $350K you're going to pay it back inside of how many years? 7 years, because you're going to do it faster than the SBA loan and save yourself tens of thousands of dollars. So what does that mean? Well, that means you would put down that $35K in order to get this business, and you would do a transaction where it's still debt. You owe the seller the agreed amount.
Not Colombian.
$75K, but there's actually no banker
Regretfully.
in the middle telling you what you guys need to do. Just old-fashioned you plus the seller determining this purchase price, having this down payment, and you give the seller 40% of the profits until you pay back the $375 over these 7 years. So what does that mean for you? It means over the same 10-year window, you're going to have an additional $135K in your pocket. All right, so are you guys starting to see how not all debt is bad debt? Some of it is really smart. And it can actually allow you to preserve Main Street while making a ton of money. Because when you think about preserving things,
I would have to wash this over like 10 times to be able to like absorb and retain what she's saying. I'm listening to Cody Sanchez. She's like a business guru who gives business advice, and she's got ADHD too.
Isn't just to borrow money, but you use it strategically so you can keep cash in the business and keep growing. So let's say right now.
And she has a video. It's called "If You Don't Understand Debt, You Don't Understand Business." Boring topic.
I want to talk to you about.
I love Indian food.
So we just talked about business debt.
But I think it's really valuable for me to understand.
Is your business itself is an asset, and that asset actually increases in value each year or decreases in value each year. And for every, let's call it 100%, you can increase in your business, you can actually get a valuation or asset increase of anywhere from 2 to 10x. So if
Thank you for that advice.
And you can double the value of the business from $100,000 to $200,000, and then you get a value on the business overall. That means you didn't increase it by $100,000. You actually increased it by $200K to, in some cases, $1 million plus. This is because when a business goes to sell, you get what's called enterprise value or multiple value. at something called the boardroom, this is the only thing we obsess on. And so we help business owners that are doing at least 6 figures up to 9 figures in revenue grow their business by 24% each quarter plus. The idea is, can we take your business to the next level? And can we make the business, one, have it increased in revenue?
Okay,
But also have
I'm taking my Dead NYX fine liner because it's Lost Salts ink, and I just dipped it in really old kohl liner. So I've always like taken old or used looking makeup from my professional makeup kit and kept it as my own. That's where I've gotten all my personal makeup from, is my own makeup kit. That wasn't good enough for my clients, so I kept it for me. Secondhand, basically. I make myself my own peasant.
But the truth is, your house is not automatic.
But it's also being resourceful.
Sometimes it's just a lifestyle purchase. And sometimes it's a very expensive adult piggy bank with never-ending plumbing problems. For most people, buying a house can be smart because it forces you to save. Why? Because every single month, part of your mortgage goes to something called principal, right? And principal is basically an automated savings account that tracks your money inside of your house before you're allowed to blow it on DoorDash, Amazon, a third Stanley Cup, and plan this for hydration, whatever. But if you are highly disciplined, you will actually make more money not on buying a house, but on investing somewhere better. And here's why. Look at these numbers. Since 2001, the average home appreciation, so how much homes have increased in value every year, is about 4.5%. You guys remember what it is in the stock market. So I know that, maybe the tiny upgrades you did in your house you feel makes it special. I'm sorry, Zillow actually does not care about your accent wall. So right now, if you have a 30-year mortgage, you can be spending 6% on your interest rate. And your house is growing at 4.5%, but your debt costs 6%. So appreciation alone is not saving you. Yes, you're also paying down the principal, like we talked about, that matters. But mortgages are front-loaded for the bank. Your
front-loaded for the bank
might be around 80% interest.
80%
interest. 20%
interest.
principal repayment. This is how people mess this up. People mess this up because they compare rent to the mortgage payment and they sort of stop there. I think about that like toddler math. A house is not just principal and interest. What else is it? Well, let's think about all the things you have. Closing costs, property taxes, insurance, repairs, your AC
the fridge that will break down, that's not an asset, it's depreciating.
So rent is not throwing money away. Rent buys you a place to live. Homeowners throw money away too. They just call it interest, taxes, insurance, repairs, and accent walls. The other way people mess up mortgages is they get a raise and think it's responsible to pay their mortgage off quicker because it usually feels good, right? Here's why. Say you have a $400,000 mortgage. That's the average home cost in the US. At a 5% interest rate for 30 years, which is the average duration of a mortgage, you want to throw an extra $800 a month, which is not nothing, at an principal payment to kill it faster. Feels really good, looks good. If you do the math though, you would actually pay off the loan in 17 years. Now what's interesting is if instead you did what a disciplined person would do in the stock market or somewhere else.
Really? What are the, okay, Vass says Cody's videos and ideas do not apply to the current time. So yes, there's some good advice, but there are better videos to watch. Can you recommend those videos? Property taxes and home insurance with maintenance is drag. Oh yeah, of course it is. Learning about compounding. Should I invest in AI now? I am not the person to ask. I've learned the hard way, don't. I used to have a mentor that had me invest in penny stocks. I've been in hands of not good people. I am not about that life anymore. I put all my money into S&P 500. I don't have to even look at it. You just put that money away and forget you have it, and you will save, and it'll turn into something later.
It doesn't come back out unless you sell, refinance, or borrow against the exact asset you just paid down. If you put it in a brokerage account or a Roth instead, and your business has a bad quarter, your car dies, the money is actually usable. You can go get it. So before you send an extra dollar to mortgage, max out your 401k. Kill anything above 10% interest. Build a real cash buffer. Max out your tax advantaged accounts. Invest in a higher return rate. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just telling you what you did. Your house is not an emergency fund. It's a very expensive vault that only opens when you sell. Now let's talk about how to do it like the 1%. So, top 1% math. They do not ask, can I afford the payment? That's how normal people become house poor. The wealthy ask, is this the best use of my capital? What a fancy question. I love using that. So if you want to use mortgage debt intelligently, you need to know 3 things. Number 1, what is the total cost of owning? What does that mean? That includes interest, that includes taxes, that includes HOA fees, maintenance.
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
You want to know what is the appreciation rate in the market. So how much can you get somewhere else? And 3, you want to ask yourself, what else? What else could this money be doing? If renting is cheaper and you're disciplined enough to invest the difference every month, renting might be smarter. But the rent and invest strategy only works if you actually do the second part, which is invest in something else. If you're not going to be that person and you're just going to blow it instead, be honest. For most people, a mortgage can be useful because it forces you to save. So what's the theory here? Buy below what the bank approves you for. Keep cash after closing. Do not assume the financing will save you. As a business owner, though, there's a tax move worth knowing. This one is called the Augusta rule. Now,
like, I don't even know if any, what's your, is the best for casual. Yeah. You deserve a like. Thank you. Stay clear penny stocks. I agree. I learned that the hard way from someone who actually put me in so much risk as like a young single mom who took all of my savings. It was insane.
Talk to your CPA. There are rules.
Rhino reviews 5540. What about MSCI World? What is that? What's your opinion on wasps? I'm sorry, I don't know much about it. My advice would be to invest in something you are comfortable with and can afford to lose money at your age. S&P is a good way to go. Yeah, thank you. Do you wear mini skirts? Yes, I do. You know what? I remember being 20 years old and doing one of my first paid makeup gigs as a professional makeup artist with a photographer. And I was wearing a mini skirt, and I still have that mini skirt today, and it still fits me 14 years later after having a kid. And I remember him saying, you know what? I think he said, no mini skirts after 30. And I will say I do wear less mini skirts and more long skirts than compared to before, but I still wear my mini skirts. No man will tell me you can't do that.
And there's even better ones I'll tell you in a minute.
And I remember him saying it. I remember my jaw dropping, being like, that is so offensive. I was offended, and I was not even close to 30 at the time.
There's also protection for your business and potentially cash back. If you pay the bank back for the money it's given you, you win. But if you do something called carry a balance on there, the whole thing turns into a financial disaster. Because while other rates we've talked about are 5 to 10%, the average credit card rate, you guys, is quasi-criminal at 22%. So if you spend and leave $10K on your card, what does that mean? That's $200 cash back.
I just remembered I have.
$2K.
Hey, I have something I need to do.
Here's how to use it like
hey Google. I think my Google's working.
One is like the Ink Business Cash card. At this time, what's cool about that? 0%
34 does not seem like thank you. Nice. 14 years later and after giving birth. Yeah.
Cash back on the first 25K spent. You have to spend it on office supply stores, internet, cable, phone service.
You know, I don't normally say or give hints to my real age. So you guys have the inside scoop just being here right now.
If you use it properly. I like this card because, you know, we are always, this is plain, jet setting on land. And if you use it for travel, this might be like, you know, access to lounges. This might be hotel credits. This is helpful for my team a lot. And little things like cutting the TSA line, which is like $100, I think, for you to get anyway. So if you own a business and need a way to track spending and waste, though, I would really.
This might be a dumb waste of time for me because, again, I don't know how much of this applies to Canadians. Probably not much. We're so different over here.
Actually, the other day, we found one employee was using it for their Hinge account. Bombastic side-eye. The employee no longer works at this company. But you can actually see track spending by department and track where people are doing anything crazy. So the simple rule is really this. If you're going to use a credit card, then you have to pay it off every single month. Do not fund your life with a card. Only charge what you can afford to pay off in full. And if you already have a credit card debt, Stop trying to optimize rewards. Kill the balance. There's two methods. The snowball method is you start with the smallest balance first because you get momentum. That is like psychologically quite good. Then there's the avalanche method, which is you basically go and start paying the minimums on everything you go. It's mathematically best, psychologically best. You know which one between the two. Now I want you to end with Buffett's rule. Never risk what you have in need, but what you do not have, do not need. Debt should make you more free. If it makes you more fragile, you're using it wrong. I want you to look at two cycles. The average person borrows to consume, works to repay, borrows again because they're tired, then works more because the payments grow. That cycle can eat decades. I do not want that for you. I want you to see the difference. Some people use debt to buy things that make them look rich. Other people use debt to buy things that make them free. Choose carefully.
You are arrogant, you are lazy, and you're stupid. You're sitting there and you cannot afford supercars for one of those three. You should work 84 hours a week. No family, no kids, no girlfriend. Every day you wake up, the only thing that should be on your mind is money.
That's not what being rich looks like. Jeff Bezos is worth $257 billion because of Amazon. He drinks coffee and reads the newspaper in the morning. Tim Cook earned $74.3 million at Apple last year. He turns his phone off to go to the gym. Berkshire Hathaway is worth $1.3 trillion. Warren Buffett
Hey Siri.
is his best friend. You don't have to wake up.
Hey Siri doesn't work when I'm on live.
You don't have to give up your
I need a reminder that in 30 minutes I need to go ahead and meet Christian. I'm going to be doing an interview for him and help his event.
On September 18th. I'll see you there.
You know what's crazy is I just didn't have the energy to...
Okay, question. Can you guess what connects your monthly mortgage payment, your pension's value, sudden stock market...
I just didn't have the energy to take...
And the amount your government can afford to
Hold
spend.
on. I just didn't have the attention to take a shower, but I wanted to get my makeup on, so I just was like, fuck it. I'm going to put my makeup on and then shower after, so I'm going to have to be very careful of this.
Barely pay attention to, but it's one that shapes all of them.
You want to be my
The bond market
husband?
has a
Thank you for
reputation.
saying that. Oof. It says this is another one. Canada stunned as Vancouver pre-sale buyers, Vancouver's where I'm from, born and raised and still live in, get destroyed at $500K loss overnight.
Losses on these deals.
That's nuts.
Canada is stunned as Vancouver pre-sale condo buyers get destroyed overnight, watching six-figure losses appear on paper the moment their building finally closes. Some buyers are losing over $500,000 on a single unit. Here is exactly how this happened and why thousands more buyers are about to feel the same shock.
There's so many people that are coming to me and saying, hey, I'm hearing about these distressed pre-sale buyers, these guys that bought these condos, they can't close on them, the valuations are down, they're going to walk away from their deposits and I will buy their unit. You know, they're going to walk away from their 20%, they can just gift it to me and I'll buy it. What a great deal. The problem is a lot of these pre-sales were priced 20+% above the market values at the time, and the market values are now declining.
Start with one real example. A buyer in Burnaby signed a contract in early 2022 for a two-bedroom condo. The price on paper was $920,000. He paid a deposit of $184,000 in cash, sitting in a lawyer's trust account this whole time.
You know, these units, if you look at them, the ones that are active right now, asking, $1.6 million, that $1.6 million asking price had closed. It closed at pre-sale for 2.5 on the tax record sheet.
That unit is completing this spring. Similar units in the same building are now appraising between $700,000 and $740,000. That is a gap of up to $220,000 between what he legally owes and what the bank will actually lend him.
As the calendar has rolled over, is that home sales remain weak. In fact, they were down 30% on a year-over-year basis, 35% below the 10-year average, because we have a situation where, again, there's a lot of unsold inventory from last year that is carrying over into 2026.
This is not one unlucky buyer. This is happening across Metro Vancouver right now, building after building. The whole pre-sale system was built on one simple assumption. Prices in 3 or 4 years would be the same or higher than the day you signed.
We're seeing active listings actually are crashing. They've gone from roughly nearly 500 active listings down to under 100.
Greater Vancouver Realtors data backs this up at the city level too. As of June this year, the region's overall composite benchmark price sat at $1,099,100, down 6% from a year earlier. The apartment benchmark specifically came in at $695,200, down 7% year over year.
You know, you might want to say, but the industry doesn't want
Too
to
expensive,
say,
not
right?
worth the
And
money.
so
Yeah, stocks
I'm
are the
gonna
worst.
kind of
Might as well buy a
unpack this a little bit, which is
Cybertruck.
to say,
Shit. All
you know,
over the world,
coming
you
into this
can't
year,
do with real
again, I
estate
said,
now.
listen, guys, we finished
Too expensive, not worth the
2025
money. People
on a
buy and live in
25-year
containers
low
now because
annual
real
home
estate
sale. That is
effed up pretty bad.
It's reasonable
David
to expect that
Howe?
home sales should increase from the 25-year lows, but
Condo sales in June totaled just 1,103 units across the entire region. The
Shit.
average time a unit sat on the market before selling stretched to 39 days. That is a slow, buyer-friendly market, meeting a wave of pre-sale buyers who are stuck holding contracts priced for a completely different market. For years, that assumption held up fine in Vancouver. In 2026, it does not. The shock lands at the exact moment of completion, not before, which means buyers had no warning until the bill actually arrived.
make no mistake, is you had a very high level of unsold listings at the end of the year.
Unsold
Sellers
listing.
becoming more motivated. You had a lot of listings. The picture for the demand side wasn't evident that you were going to see an uptick in demand, given that you've lost the investor base in particular, and given the uncertainties in the world and in the Canadian economy today.
Here is why the math breaks down so badly. Say someone bought a pre-sale condo for $800,000 in 2022 with a standard 20% deposit. That is $160,000 down. Comparable finished units in that same building are now appraising at $600,000 to $650,000. The bank does not care what you agreed to pay back in 2022. It lends based on what the unit is actually worth today. If the appraisal comes in $150,000 to $200,000 below the contract price, that gap does not disappear. The buyer has to cover it in cash.
And again, the buyer demand side, with no population growth, a weak economy, an uncertain economy, and geopolitically, and the lack of investors, suggests that again the demand is going to be weak this year.
And the gap is only the start. Completion also triggers 5% GST on new construction, which is $40,000.
I think he means the bubble.
Contract before any rebate.
Do you work during business TV? No, I would love to though. I think he means the bubble, but I wouldn't be demotivated though because he still can buy it cheap then get wealthy in 5 to 10 years after that. Are you talking about AI stocks? Maybe next year you will see robotics. When will they release the Terminators? Are we close? I wouldn't mind having a Chappie style robot though.
Basically, what's happening is some of the top
Rotem.
resale
Hi,
brokers
Rotem.
that focus in that space, that work with a lot of assignments, they're actually just telling their clients, don't bother. We don't want the listing. We can't sell it for you. You're going to have to find alternative means.
Think about what that actually means for someone's finances. They already paid a large deposit years ago. Now they need to somehow find another $200,000 in cash for the appraisal gap, plus tens of thousands more in taxes, all within a matter of weeks. Most ordinary buyers simply do not have that kind of money sitting around waiting. If a buyer cannot close at all, the developer keeps the deposit. Worse, the developer can sue for even more money if they end up reselling the unit for less than the original contract price. Losing your deposit is actually the best case outcome here, not the worst one.
I'm going to kind of unpack this a little bit further, which is
That's
to say,
so
coming
sad.
into this year, I said, listen, guys, we finished 2025 on a 25-year low in annual.
I want
home
to
sales.
send me. You want to send me
According to
what?
reporting from My Vancouver Property, Some buyers in exactly this situation are losing over $500,000 on a single pre-sale
If you buy
assignment.
AI stocks, you
And
might as
because
well
most
transition
assignment
because you're
sales
not
never
going to
show
want
up
to be
on the public
known.
MLS system,
I'm
this damage
intrigued.
stays mostly invisible unless you
What's
are the one
David?
living through it.
The reality is 98% of people are not going to time tick the bottom of the market. These are statistically, factually the best buying conditions since 2012.
The numbers behind
Okay,
this crisis are
it's time to
staggering.
buy.
Pre-sale sales across all of BC totaled roughly 124 units in the first quarter of 2026. In the first quarter of 2021, that number was nearly 6,000. That is close to a 98% collapse in just 5 years.
You guys, I messed up the
Vancouver
corner of my
realtor Steve
eye.
Soretsky, who tracks this
That's the
market
thing about
closely,
doing inner
reported
corner
that the
eye
second
makeup.
quarter of this year
We
was
often
even
get
worse,
itchy right
with
here,
only
especially when
62
you have all that
presale
makeup
units
on.
sold across the
Ugh, it looks so bad
entire
now. Hold
Metro
on.
Vancouver area. 2025 already saw just 60 new project launches, one of the weakest
Hold on.
years for new pre-sales in over a decade.
Prices in many markets are down anywhere from 10% to call it 25%, and in some cases upwards of 30% in some far-flung markets.
Investors who used to buy assignments hoping to flip them for a quick profit have mostly disappeared from this market. When investors stop showing up, there is nobody left to take a struggling buyer's contract off their hands, not for a profit, and often not even at break-even. Developers know exactly what is happening, and they are not standing still either. Some are offering price cuts of up to 25% on unsold inventory. Others are handing
Do you
out
think society will
cashback
get better
credits
with a
worth
bunch of robots
$10,000 to
roaming the streets or
$100,000
home
right
assistant
across
robots? I
just
wonder
to get
if it will
deals
be
across
like
the
Blade
line.
Runner.
So you can actually
You come home to
negotiate,
your
get all the leverage
holographic
in the negotiation
wife and
today.
kids.
So by all accounts,
Crazy.
it is factually, you can't have, it's never a good time to buy and sell. It's one or the other. It's either a seller's market or it's a buyer's market. And statistically speaking, it is a buyer's market with the sales to active ratio the lowest levels since 2012.
Some developers have started offering deposit structures as low as 1% on brand new launches. That is how desperate the situation has become. Meanwhile, sellers trying to get out of older presale contracts are sometimes paying the new buyer money just to take the deal off their hands. Picture that arrangement for a second. Someone who once expected to make a tidy profit flipping their contract is now writing a check to a stranger just to walk away clean. The whole flipping strategy that made pre-sales so popular during the boom has completely flipped itself in the most literal and painful sense possible.
And in fact, if you look at the sales to actives ratio, it came in at 9%. 9%. It was the lowest.
I have to find some flesh out
lowest
here.
reading since September 2012.
Do you think society will?
Harry Ehrlich, who has worked in this field
This
for
sounds
almost
so
50
tragic,
years,
but they wanted to
said
do
he's
that.
never
I
seen
guess
anything quite
everyone
like what
is not
happening
capable
right
of a
now.
relationship
That is
anymore, and
not
I
a
guess
small
it's very
statement coming
difficult.
from someone
Relationships
who lived through
are
the
hard work,
2008
man.
financial crisis in
They
this
are.
exact same industry.
You're not
Mortgage
wrong.
delinquencies tell
But
a
I feel
similar
like
story.
with
The 3-month change
the
in mortgages
increase
going delinquent.
I feel like the increase of like AI and everything, and also COVID being so far behind us now on top of it, you know, we are humans and we crave human interaction. Like we need that to survive. That's like in our nature. So I feel like with so much AI around us, that craving is becoming more and more. At least in the time being, because AI is not quite perfect. We can tell when it's like an AI video. This is the worst AI will ever be, though. It's going to keep getting better. So who knows how long it'll be like that for, but for now we can tell when AI is AI. And I don't think it can quench real human interaction, only maybe if you're really desperate and it's the only thing it's the closest thing you can get. So I think we would all still prefer real human interaction. The problem is like, but you're right, like when you can't tell it's AI, like for example, on OnlyFans, you can interact with those women, right? But like 90% of it is still AI and people can't tell because it's in writing, and you can even instruct AI to make it look not like AI writing. So yeah, I think that's why like OnlyFans is like, some men will just opt for OnlyFans if they think that the relationship isn't worth it. I couldn't do that work all the time. I mean, military robot is good. I couldn't do that work all the time. I'm even now too exhausted with my job and a couple of cats. Hello, gorgeous. Hi, thank you for saying gorgeous.
Has jumped sharply, the fastest move seen since the pandemic lockdowns of 2020. Court-ordered listings, homes being sold because owners simply could not keep up anymore, are hitting fresh record highs across Metro Vancouver.
A lot of people think they're going to be able to time tick the bottom ticker. You know, as the home price index ticks to the bottom, they're going to hit that exact bottom, and it's going to be off the races. It's going to be the best buy I've ever done.
Active listings across the region now sit above 17,000, more than 30% above the normal 10-year average for this time of year. The sales to active listings ratio sits around 12%, right at the line that usually signals prices are going to keep softening rather than recover. Mortgage rates have actually come down quite a bit from their 2024
Oh my God, too much blush, too much blush.
5-year fixed rates now sitting between roughly 4 and 4.5%. That helps brand new buyers entering the market today. It does almost nothing for someone stuck bridging a $200,000 completion gap on an old contract.
The reality is 98% of people are not going to time tick the bottom of the market. These are statistically, factually the best buying conditions since 2012. Prices in many markets are down anywhere from 10% to, call it, 25%.
Then came the government's response, and it raises some uncomfortable questions. Mark Carney's federal government and David Eby's provincial government recently announced a partnership to buy up unsold condo units and convert them into rent-to-own housing, aimed at helping clear roughly a third of Metro Vancouver's unsold supply. Around the same time, Canada's banking regulator quietly lowered the capital buffer that big banks are required to hold, dropping it from 3.5% down to 3% of risk-weighted assets. That change gives banks more room to absorb bad loans without getting into trouble.
I'm looking for my lip liner. It will be in my purse.
Actually, you can't have, it's never a good time to buy and sell it.
I just walked away from the TV again when it's still going. I never remember to pause it. ADHD alert. If you're with someone who does that, then I'm just telling you right now, be patient with them. They have ADHD. Also, what they will do probably is start a show and then immediately walk away. Remember that they need to do something quick. And again, forget to pause it. So they miss the whole first part, often most important part of the movie, the opening setting.
Rarely happens by accident in an industry this heavily regulated.
You would see
Politician's girl. Put some jeans on. Why? Facts, Brian. I would like to have one turn loose on the riding lawnmower. This heat isn't normal, bruh. It's way too hot. It's cool in Vancouver today.
There are roughly 4,500 vacant unsold condo units sitting in Metro Vancouver right now, and that number keeps climbing every month.
Oh, I guess I shouldn't do my lip liner because I haven't brushed my teeth yet.
Walk away from their deposits, and developers keep piling up unsold inventory they cannot move at any price that makes financial sense. So the government stepped in to warehouse a chunk of these units before the losses spread even further into the banking system. Meanwhile, the original buyer who signed that same contract in 2022 gets absolutely nothing from any of it. No rebate, no bailout, no rescue, just a bill for the difference.
And so you're seeing more and more, basically, the message is effectively, listen, either you're going to have to close on it and sell it as a completed unit, take your loss then, or you're going to have to effectively walk away and risk getting sued by the developer.
Pre-sale launches collapsed hard in 2024 and 2025, which means new completions are set to drop sharply again by 2027 and 2028. Today's flood of unsold units is technically a temporary bottleneck rather than a permanent state of the market. That long-term forecast means very little if you are the one staring down a completion date in the next 90 days with a six-figure gap to cover. If you bought at the peak and your closing date is coming up soon, get a fresh appraisal immediately and talk to your
That sounds so terrifying to buy a house.
Why the number of assignments?
It makes me almost relieved that I don't have enough money to buy a house.
I'm going to put the piece of paper onto the marketplace, and someone can come in and
You're on
assume
fire.
my
Does that
rights
burn?
and close on this pre-sale.
Run the real numbers on completing versus assigning versus walking away entirely, ideally with a lawyer in the room before you decide anything. This story is going to keep surfacing across Vancouver through the rest of this year, and every single person closing on a 2022 contract is currently living through it in real time.
Have any of you
Next
been
time
on a
someone tells you
motorcycle?
pre-sale
Always good to
condos
know
are
what's
a
going on
safe
in the world, but don't
long-term
get to
bet,
see by
ask
things
them what
you
happens when the
see.
bank simply
Always
refuses
research.
to agree with the price you signed for. Right
I
now in
know
Vancouver,
now
that
what you
question
mean.
already has
You
a
want
very
to
expensive
let a fight
answer.
happen
Thousands of
between your
people are
robot
about
and
to
your
learn that answer the hard way
lawnmower.
over the next year,
English
one
isn't my first
closing gate
language,
at
so
a
I needed
time.
time to understand. That's okay. English is my first language, and I still need a lot of time to understand.
With the files that you get, are you aware where it's an investment property versus this is someone's actual home?
On average, I would say, especially for the institutions I act for, it's their house. I would say that we are seeing a lot of files of properties that were either purchased or refinanced in or around 2020 to 2023 range.
Mathematically speaking, there's going to be a percentage of people listening to us right now that are like, I'm in this position. You could have 200 grand equity in the first payment you miss, and by the time it actually sells, there's zero left.
Okay, I'm gonna go brush my teeth. Guys, I feel so bad. My daughter's gonna come home for the first time, like, because we were on a trip for a week, and I just haven't cleaned up. We were on a trip for a week, and then I dropped her off to her dad's, like, right as before I even got home. I was dropping her off on the way to my home back from the trip, and unpacking and cleaning up after a trip is so hard. I like the packing part, but unpacking is so annoying. I'm gonna have to shove it all just like in my room so she can come home, because like the entryway that has all the bags and stuff. Oh, I stood up too fast. I have to brush my teeth before I put my lip liner on. Oops, I'm trying to find, oh, here. Here we go. Toothbrush. I need to get my toothbrush. Toothbrush, where are you? Oh, it's in the living room. I forgot. I got it, guys. Don't worry. Oh my God, thank you. 10 minutes. You guys are the best. Thank you for giving me that. Okay, can you let me know in another 5? I should message him, see where he's at. Hold on, I'm gonna brush my teeth first. I had to shower. Just standing in that. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Ah. I'm just brushing my tongue. Okay. Okay, guys, I appreciate you just hanging out with me. Thank you so much. It's very supportive. Okay, Romeo, the world is corrupted. I agree. Lower class, middle class, upper class is not their system. It's all about the rich getting more richer, and greed is correct for the word. There are a lot of tricks in the book, but we're not allowed to learn them. A morning routine, cool. Yeah, it's actually 1:30 p.m. Okay, let me text this guy. I'm gonna do an interview for his event coming up. I'm just gonna. Oh, bye. I'm sorry you had to leave. Oh yeah, I was gonna do my lip liner. Oh, I put it away. Hold on. Take care, y'all. Bye. Okay, I appreciate you waiting, that one person who's still watching. I'm gonna get going. Thank you. I'm sorry, I should have just said bye earlier. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Mwah, mwah, mwah.